People of Reddit, what are some of the guy code and girl code unwritten rules that you always follow? Should a bro die in a weightlifting related accident, a bro will add at least 100 pounds to the bar before reporting the incident. I can't tell you the amount of times I've done this for bros. Happens more times than you think. When you lose count is when it starts to look suspicious, bro. Weird, he was attempting to curl 120s but he only weighs 140. Why do you think he died, the absolute madman? So many missed opportunities. How many friends have you lost lifting weights? Be generous with your closest friends. Buy them an occasional beer or their favorite soft drink without keeping score of whose turn it is to pay. Bingo. I make a lot more money than my best friend. We don't talk about it and I never throw anything in his face, but if I want to go to a baseball game with him or take a road trip, he knows that not being able to afford it doesn't have to be a reason for not going. He's my bro and I've got him covered. Seriously, it's tacky to keep track of beers or reach-arounds between friends. You just give what you can when you can. Yeah, totally agree. Wait, what was that second thing you said? You just give what you can when you can. You are a real bro. A buddy and I always run under the assumption that we owe each other some general amount of money. Not a dollar by dollar log, but just money. So if we need a bit of help buying food, we're just like, hey, get this for me. Which perpetuates the, I probably owe you something around this price mentality and keeps it going. Yup, paying it forward in some ways but not done at the time with any expectation of getting anything back. When it comes to money or favors in general, I've always operated under the idea that I'm not allowed to keep score. I just don't even let myself think of it that way. If a friend needs $30 and I have it, I give them $30. No loans, no expectations. If I need the money back right away, then I can't afford to give it to them. Period. As for favors, if I feel like I'm being taken advantage of, I simply make myself less available to help them out. I rarely have felt this way, though, because what few friends I have are solid individuals, and we help each other out as much as we can. It's just simpler this way and I avoid feeling resentment or disappointment by refusing to keep score. I'm happier this way. If another lady walks past and you notice a blood stain on the back of their pants skirt, tell them, but do it discreetly. Recently noticed a passenger had a spot on her pants. Wrote her a note and slipped it to her as I was collecting trash from the carriage. Half-hour later, I see her again and she has a different change of pants on. She was super thankful. This takes me back 20 years. Back when I was in high school, I was sitting behind this girl in history class. She leaned forward to talk to the person in front of her and I saw she had a bunch of red paint on the seat of her pants. Krista, you must have sat in paint or something. You have red paint all over the back of your pants. Said in a not loud but not discreet manner. She just bolted from the room starting to cry. I thought, what was that about? The teacher just looked at me and gave me the head shake and hand wave to not worry about it. It wasn't until years and years later, after I'd learned about women's biology and that memory came back to me, that I realized what I had done to the poor girl. I've felt bad about it ever since. I'm guessing they didn't have sex ed where you were 20 years ago and you didn't have any sisters. Because high school seems a little old to not know about periods. Lol, my husband, when I met him when he was 34, had very little knowledge of periods. They happen every month. Really? And didn't think women had body hair. He has 5 sisters. That baffles me. I had 5 sisters, and have probably bought more tampons than most women. All the kids would be home and 10-year-old me would be sent pedaling on my bike to the drugstore with an empty box or a note saying what I needed. Was kinda awkward about 6th grade when we finally had sex ed and I realized it wasn't some kind of makeup thing I was buying. Would it be acceptable if guys did this too? Edit, top prevailing opinions. Yes, but discreetly. Ask another woman to tell. If a guy is bleeding through his pants, tell him. Edit. Also find it interesting that such a normal bodily function can cause so much embarrassment. Edit. By normal bodily functions I include random inconveniently timed boners as well. It's all embarrassing. Edit. Safer option for everyone involved. Just mention she might have sat in some sauce ketchup. Win-win. This happened to me on 2 separate occasions. Once I was standing next to a female coworker and asked her to let the other woman know she had a red spot. The other time I was by myself, so I found a woman, told her that there's another woman walking around with a red spot on her pants, and pointed her out. In both instances the women I told without batting an eyelash, went into RoboCop Prime Directive mode and told these women. That was a thoughtful way to handle it. I would definitely be more embarrassed if a man told me I needed a spot check versus a woman. If somebody loans me money, it's my job to remember to pay back, not theirs to collect. I lost a few friends this way. I once heard a saying, if you loan somebody money and never hear from them again, consider it money well spent. Makes me feel better about a pretty good sum of money I'm never seeing again. Edit. I get it, it's from The Bronx Tale. Never saw the movie, pretty sure I read the quote on Reddit in the past. My dad always said that until they pay you back, just assume they never will. Upwards nod equals we're friends and I'm acknowledging you. Downwards nod equals I don't know you but I acknowledging you. So true to the point where if you reverse it on accident you won't get acknowledged. I was extremely tired and broke the code by upward nodding to a stranger and they looked at me confused and just walked away without giving me a nod. Took me until I got home to realize my mistake. They were probably just confused. You indicated you knew them so they were trying to place your face to calculate if they, too, should nod upward or if you are just a maniac. Wow, I've always done this subconsciously without knowing it. Written into every man's DNA. If you're given an upwards nod, you can return an up or down nod. If you're given a downwards nod, you can return a downwards nod. Returning an upwards nod when you've been given a downwards nod might be fighting words. If he drives you pay for parking. And if it's a really long drive and it's their car, I'll pay for the first refill of gas. And if it's a really long drive, I pay for their car. Edit. Wow, I've got more people asking me out on a date, asking me if I am single now than I have ever in my life. This is a miracle. If you see a girl with her skirt tucked into her tights, tissue stuck to her shoe or lipstick on her teeth, tell her. This happened once in college when I was working retail. I was leaving the store's restroom and one of my coworkers, who was always a nasty to me for whatever reason, had tucked her skirt into her underwear. I debated whether or not to say anything and then went with my gut and alerted her of the situation. She was always super nice to me after that. Generally tell someone about anything they can fix right now. Spinach in their teeth? Tell them. Toilet paper on the shoe? Tell them. Shirt on inside out? Tell them. Getting kind of fat? Shut up. Don't like their new haircut? Shut up. Nailed it. It's called the 10-second rule. If they can fix it in 10 seconds, tell them. Guy code. Don't try to get with someone else's partner. Always give at least one space for urinals. Head nod. We got some new neighbors recently and he just stares in disgust like you insulted him whenever you nod at him. I think we're going to fight soon. Edit. I've tried down nod, up nod, and even verbally said hello a couple times. All he does is stare like an idiot face. Beat him up. Assert dominance. How many times do we have to teach you this lesson, old man? Maybe he's just transgender and hasn't picked up on the guy nod yet. I remember taking a leak at a urinal. Yeah. I'm at the one at the far end, as is custom. Another man enters and I expect him to go the one furthest from me. He doesn't, he walks past it. Kinda weird but nothing to worry about. Then he crosses the halfway point of the urinals. He's now entered my proximal zone of urination. The room is now unbalanced with 100% of the men occupying less than 50% of the space. The madman keeps walking, and this motherfraker, this sick twisted hexbon out of all the 10+ darn urinals to pick from goes to the one directly next to me. Absolute psychopath. And to think, this man is gonna just walk out of that bathroom and into the world as if nothing happens. He's gonna get a job, have a wife, vote in elections and no one will know about the type of person he truly is. Makes me sick that people like that are just out there in society. I had a guy do this to me once in the central downtown metro station in LA. Huge bathrooms, many urinals. I'm in there with my buddy taking a leak and this dude walks in and comes to the stall right next to me. I think to myself, okay, a little weird but whatever, and that's when I notice out of my peripheral that he's shaking a bit, so I glance over and dude is looking right at me with a gaping mouth while he's having a wank. I quickly broke eye contact and darted my eyes forward to finish up. My friend and I ran out of there laughing our asses off. That's when we saw 3 LAPD and station security go into the bathroom and come out with this guy in cuffs. Guess he had been doing it elsewhere in the station before he found us. What a weird day. Actually, at my brother's frat they had a special rule. If a brother's girl comes on to you, hook up with her and then tell him immediately. The idea was that he might not trust your judgment that she was flirting too much. You had to be sure she meant to cheat on him. I mean, it's not a bad rule. If she's willing to cheat, then she's not worth keeping around, and if it wasn't frat brother, it would be some rondo later on. If someone offers to pay, you should ask them if they are sure. If they are, then it is rude to further reject what is supposed to be a kindness on their part. I got the bill. Are you sure? Yeah. Don't worry about it. Thank you. Unless you are Chinese Cantonese, then you just elbow each other to the counter to be the first to pay. Or you give your credit card to the staff before you've even ordered. Or just, thanks, next one's on me. Don't have to reject or feel like you're taking advantage that way. When a girl says, I won't tell anyone, what she really means is, I won't tell anyone except my best friend. Source: girl. I won't tell anyone that you know. This one is more like it. Sometimes I want to go, my friend does, to someone who I know will have no idea who I'm talking about and will not care. Or, anyone but my spouse. My wife and I do this, but maybe it's just because we're already best friends anyway. If you hear anything about a girl having a thing for your bro, you tell him immediately. I don't care if you're in the jungle with no cell phone service, you walk back to the nearest cell phone tower and let him know so he can get laid. Light the beacons. The beacons are lit. The beacons are lit. A woman calls to get laid. And my man shall answer. Gandalf smiles with approval. Never steal her bro's large fry. Or the accidental curly fry. You don't take a man's accidental curly. You take a man's wife before you take his accidental curly. I hate Gary Blauman. User Gary Blauman makes a sad face. If your friends help you move, you are expected to be packed already. And B. Provide pizza and beer. LMAO. I hate how many times I've showed up to help friends move and they have nothing packed and not enough boxes. What should take a couple hours turns into an all-day marathon. The trick is to have your own cutoff time, and if it makes you feel better, make up a reason you need to leave. I can be there at noon, but I have a dentist appointment at 4. If you say this ahead of time, they will think, cool, should be done before 4. It won't be, but it won't be your problem. That way it doesn't much matter what stage of packing they are in, you help, you leave. Treat your friend's girl as if she's a guy. My fiancé has a group chat with his friends and I always insisted that I didn't need to be a part of it, it's healthy to have his guy space. After a little while though, even his friends were like, just get her in here, she's one of us, and that was really cool. Guy code. Never try to get with a friend's past flame without explicit discussion and permission. Gas your friend up when their crush is present. Driver gets the aux cable until responsibility is delegated. Heart-to-hearts are for after 3 a.m. For my friend's shotgun has the aux cord, but driver can pick genre and has veto power for any songs. A democratic ruler. We just don't like the driver on their phone. For real though, the realest conversations I've ever had were after 2 a.m. They were awesome. That's when the bars close down and the hearts open up. My girlfriend was telling me last night that she always carries an extra pad or tampon because you'll never know when another woman may need one and not have one. She said it's an unwritten rule for women that even if you hate the person, you will give them one if they need it. Got me thinking, what other unwritten rules have I not heard of? Cue my sister. She carries 2 kinds of pads and tampons for backups. For the people she likes, she carries the fairly nice stuff that she uses herself. For the people she doesn't like, she carries the cheapest, nastiest dollar store tampons and pads you can imagine, made out of cardboard and orphan tears. Yeah, my sister is petty. That's like malicious compliance to the girl code. Malicious compliance. Oh, so you've met her. Lawful evil. It's a dad rule, too. I always carry tampons in my car in case my daughters need one. My husband has a bag in the car with supplies for me, too. I didn't even know about it until I went on a trip with friends and none of us could figure out where this mystery tampon bag came from. Super sweet of him, and good on you for giving that kind of support to your daughters. Yep, I learned this in college when a girl in the back had an accident, for lack of better word, and quickly shuffle out. I think I was the only guy who noticed as she walked out, or at least all the other guys were better at pretending they didn't. 2. 3 girls sitting in the front all looked at each other instantly and somehow made the agreement, and one grabbed her purse and followed her out. This month, you. Next month, me. Yep. I'm a woman and have helped out many a friend that didn't have a pad. I keep them in my car for that purpose. Also helps when you yourself get surprised. I never go anywhere without one. And yeah, you give her one even if you hate her. Unexpected period transcends hatred. Girl code. If something is fixable within 5 minutes, makeup, something stuck in teeth, small things on appearance, you tell her and help her if needed. If it isn't fixable on the spot, you keep your mouth shut and especially don't point it out to others. I assume this doesn't apply to period stains. Those aren't usually fixable in 5 minutes, but you can't let a person walk around like that either. Bless the girl I didn't even know in high school who told me I'd bled through my pink skirt. Wore a jacket around my waist the rest of the day, which is better than blood all over you. We weren't friends, but she didn't let me suffer it out. I hope she's having a nice life. Edit. My top comment is about leaking periods. Solidarity with my folks who bled on themselves in any manner. My wife stepped away from me, talked to a random woman for a few seconds and returned to me in Costco. I had no idea what was up and assumed the woman to be a coworker she knew or something. Turned out this was the same thing you're talking about. She even offered the woman her jacket to use. I was clueless until I asked her who that was when we were leaving the store. I'm clueless a lot. Last slice of pizza or last pop beer always goes to who paid for it. If you all chipped in, you don't have to ask, but you have to tell. And never take both in the same hangout, no matter what the earlier rules say. Never mess with the music in another person's car. Don't care how bad you think their taste is. If you know someone else had a regrettable hookup, no you don't. Not even if you fall out and become enemies. You don't remember. The music in car thing is so true. I've driven long drives for people on terrible roads and paid for gas, and no matter how much I pick my music to be inoffensive, I get people reaching for the aux. When I politely decline their music, they get mad. More people should respect the aux. Agreed. Recently I went to San Diego Comic-Con with a couple friends of mine. One of said friends is notorious for being extremely picky in his taste of music. I drove both ways for 3 days in a row, paying for gas as well. I should at least get choice of music. Instead, he insults my music choice and changes it every time he gets the chance. Guess who isn't getting any more rides for a few weeks? Or ever. I pass the aux to whoever is riding shotgun. As such, I make sure whoever is right seat is my trusted lieutenant. Was hanging out with a bro and his girl one time. She managed to snag the front seat once. I had to veto the shotgun's aux power. Respect the aux. You can have the last beer. You can have the last slice of pizza. You can't have both. Like the third time I've seen this in the thread. Do people just not buy enough pizza or something? This also goes for beer. Why would there be a last beer? I don't understand. No, haven't seen him at the pub. I went to a pub once that had a sign saying something like, "Tips are the difference between, oh yeah he's always in here, and, who is your husband again?" No, never seen him. We used to have a sign in the pub I used to work in that said something similar, but it was more like a price list for responses. The more you tipped, the better the response. The scale went something like, no tip, yeah he's here, I'll get him for you. Paltry tip, yeah he's here but won't come to the phone. Okay tip, well, he was here earlier. Good tip, nope, he's not been in for weeks. Mind you, I've seen some women come to the pub after being told he's not there with the guy's stuff in bin bags, walk in and dump them at his feet and walk off. I'm prepared to lie on your behalf, but please know what you're doing. You forgot. Huge tip. Who? Star-Lord. Man, legendary outlaw. I only had one chance to exercise this girl code rule, but once I was passing a girl in the lobby of a building and she told me that she had just gotten a straight perm and was waiting for the rain to pass before she went outside, so I let her share my umbrella for 4 to 5 blocks while we walked to a bus stop together. I would do that for any woman if it happened again. Perms are $200 plus, can take up to 3 hours and are ruined if you get them wet within 48 hours of having the procedure done. Edit because I keep getting the same questions about perms. 1. Cost. It costs a lot because it's a lot of work for the hairdresser. You are mostly paying for her time, plus the chemicals and tools they use. Professional hairdressers charge a lot for their services if you are asking for anything beyond a basic haircut. 2. Time. It takes a long time because in a straight perm, the one I had 10 years ago anyway, they put the chemicals in my wet hair, and then used a wet to dry straightening tool to perfectly straighten every strand of hair. If they tried to do it quickly they could have damaged my hair, burned me with steam or left some areas unstraightened. 3. Showering. You can shower with a shower cap or with a towel wrapped around your head if you keep your hair out of the water. 4. Do women still get perms? 80s perms were to curl straight hair because that was the most popular style. Most perms today are to straighten curly hair because that's been a more popular style for the past 15 plus years for some people. No style is universal, obviously. I know this from watching Legally Blonde. When your best friend dies, you have to delete his internet history. Common courtesy. More like a fresh install of Windows and formatting the externals. Forget formatting the drives. I've left instructions to 1. Have my hard drives disassembled. 2. The disks magnetically scrubbed. 3. The disks thrown into a grinder. 4. Have the powder scattered at sea with my ashes. This guy weird porns. Respect. If you sell a buddy a car or anything of value cheaper than normal because they are a friend, that friend must offer to sell it back to you before offering it to the general public. My grandpa gave me a car, and when my brother needed a car I gave it to him. When my sister needed a car he gave it to her. When it needed brakes and exhaust work she took it to the junkyard and kept the money. I'm still bitter. That car had enormous sentimental value. It was a 1990 Oldsmobile 98. It was so cool. I had one of those. It was my dad's car, then he passed it to my mom, who then gave it to me for school. I passed it along to my uncle who was in a rough spot, and he let his moron kid fix it up, which means it was permanently undrivable within 6 months. Yep. Sold a friend an old car for $500 and a sushi date. They were always too busy to hang out and give me the money. Then they sold the car to someone else for $500. And then I cut ties. Never sign over the title until all money is paid. Up if you know him, down if you don't. Edit. Ladies, I never said if it was guy code or girl code. It is perfectly acceptable to do this too, we welcome it. The head nod all men know at birth law. I once had a deer respond to nod code. I didn't want him to be spooked by me, so I gave him a downward nod and he gave me one simultaneously. I continued on my way and he was not at all bothered by me even though I came within 3 to 4 feet. Dear bro is chill. Next time he sees him he should definitely upwards nod cause they bros now. Bros before does. Holy moly, I never even realized that it's a natural thing that every guy seems to know. A girl waved at me in college, I did TGE upward nod to her. Later that day she was mad that I ignored her. That's when I realized it's an almost exclusive thing. These urinal rules get more confusing every time I see them. If a guy needs a tampon, you give it to him, no questions asked. I know this won't get anywhere but I love this. As a former rugby coach, I've seen so many busted noses fixed with a tampon. Still carry them all the time. For real. Dated a girl that kept a small baggie of cut-up tampons in her bathroom because she would get nosebleeds occasionally. Was pretty genius the first time she showed me. I'm from the south so some of mine are probably southern type of things. 1. Don't kill an animal unless you are going to eat it. 2. Unless he starts it, you must defend your friend in a fight regardless of the odds. If he started it, you intervene before he gets beaten up too bad, but only enough to extricate him from the situation. 3. If you go fishing and it's not your boat, you buy the beer, ice, and bait. 4. For close friends, show up to funerals, weddings, and birthdays, even if you don't want to. 5. Pay for the bachelor at his bachelor party. 6. If a friend is going through a bad breakup, it is the responsibility of the bro tribe to keep him out of the house as much as possible for the first few months. 7. If your friend is generally a hard-working, industrious guy, and they hit a financial rough spot, and you can help, you help. 8. In the event of a hurricane, or other disaster, assemble the bros, grab the chainsaws, shovels, coolers and beer, and go house to house fixing things. Don't wait for FEMA, do it yourself. 9. If a bro is in jail, and you can afford to post bail, then you post bail. 10. If a bro is stranded somewhere, you go get him, regardless of what time it is. 11. Don't let your bros drive drunk, period. 12. If a bro seems genuinely down, ask them for a beer and ask them if they are okay. Sometimes they just want someone to listen and usually only a bro or their dad will listen or care. 13. If a bro wants to learn to hunt or fish, and you know how, teach them and don't talk too much about their ineptitude. Once they have learned a bit you can talk about how crappy of a shot they are, how they always backlash the reals. 14. If you have a professional service that you provide, and your bro needs it, it's okay to do it for free the first time. 15. If a bro is working on his house or truck and needs help, and you know how to use tools, then help him out. 16. If you have a truck and bro needs to move something big, like a barbecue pit or a cornhole set, you loan him the truck or go with him. 17. If a bro is having a barbecue, you bring some kind of meat and beer. 18. Never touch another man's grill without his permission. 19. If you see your bro's girlfriend or wife getting harassed by a dude and your bro isn't there, you are the surrogate bro and must intervene. I am Canadian, true north, and all of these apply. We just have snowstorms, not hurricanes. You are the surrogate bro, this one is so true. Had this a few times with my mate's wife. If you are fighting, no matter what, don't touch the balls. Exceptions are made in a fight for your life situation. Agreed. Someone pulls a knife on me, everything's on the table. Nut shots, hair pulls, eye gouges, I'll fight as dirty as I have to if I feel he might kill me. Edit. Yes, I know. Running is plan A for any kind of fight, not just a knife fight. Fighting dirty is plan B for when I'm cornered. At least 2 pats on the back when hugging another guy. No sniffing their neck either, it's kind of frowned upon. Oh come on, next you're going to tell me I shouldn't be giving their ear a little nibble either. Mr. Tyson, we've been over this 100 times. That's Mr. Tython to you. You smell different when you're awake. Unless you are asked and willing to provide further details, keep remarks about the time you spent with someone vague and borderline childish. Example, you've spent a night with your girlfriend, you did everything from oral, to new positions, to using some of her toys. Your description and summation of all these events can be stated as, I got some. I've always abided by, a gentleman never kisses and tells, and even with my closest friends have usually tried to keep things to broad strokes. But in my experience, most women tend not to abide and will go into minute detail about all of it. You absolutely never share a glass of milk with another man. This is odd, I've never seen such a foreign concept brought to my doorstep that I immediately agreed with. I don't even drink milk and this immediately made cosmic sense to me. I had a weird experience with this dude. We were both kids, maybe 13 or so. Went to his house to show him some PC games. Made some copies for him. He wanted to share a glass of milk. I said no. I really don't like milk much, and only when eating cookies. He saw some movie where some kid with AIDS would use the milk to test if someone else was scared of getting AIDS from him. I noped out of there. I don't know if he had a disease or not, but kid was very weird. Bros before hoes, but not before wives. Sure, it sucks when a buddy has to stay home for a weekend camping trip, but if his wife's sick and they have a 3-month-old, it's probably best that he keeps his family's interests above your own. A guy the first know is getting married soon and his bachelor party was supposed to be last weekend. Well, his best man couldn't make it as it was 2 weeks before his wife's due date, which everybody knew about before the groom picked the date, so the groom told off the best man and uninvited him from the wedding because he chose his wife and possibly the birth of his first child instead of camping along a river getting drunk. A friend asked me to be best man at their wedding. Unfortunately, I already confirmed going to another wedding on that day. So my friend moved his wedding day 1 day forward. Bros all the way. If their bedroom door open, be careful to sound your approach before popping in. Never know what he's up to. That's why I always whip open doors, to catch people in the act. Edit, holy buckets, my most popular comment ever. What if you excite them even more? That's great then. At Urinal. Dick in hand, don't talk to me, man. Look straight ahead, don't make eye contact. Never pick a urinal next to someone if you can help it. Farting is acceptable, but don't make a big deal about it. Also, stand more than 5 to 6 feet away from whoever is peeing at the urinal if they are all full. If you see another girl in an uncomfortable situation, you try to get her out of there or at least let her know that you got her back. I've done it for everyone, from my sister, to my friends' moms. One time at a school event, my best friend's mom somehow ended getting an unsolicited massage from another parent with boundary issues and I quickly made an excuse up that I needed help at the concession stand. No one is too old or too young to do this. On the more lighthearted side, in my experience, when you hug another girl, you always try to slot the boobs by going slightly to the side so that you don't just mash your chests together and hurt someone. Edit, I think I made everyone's next hug a little weirder. To all the people who helped somebody else out when it was obvious they needed it, you guys are MVPs. I call the boob slotting thing Tetris. Slot boobs perfectly. Boobs disappear due to complete line. So true on the boob hug. Hate it when someone doesn't follow that. Is that a thing? I never realized. I just hug without thinking of boob placement. Thou shalt never hold a bro's wingman duties against him. When you're chatting up a girl, I don't care how unattractive the friend he's flirting with is, or how bad his flirting technique is. When he's distracting the air defenses to give you a clear run at the target, you do not insult his flying. You always review combat once everyone is safely on the ground. We call that debrief. I believe you only debrief back at her place. No, you can debrief in the car if she's into that. Girl code: when another girl asks how she looks, if you have something negative to point out, do it gently and follow up with at least one or more positive. You gotta use the sandwich. Compliment, insult, compliment. I wouldn't even use the word insult, just maybe something they could improve, step up their game on. You look so nice. Go frack yourself. Also nice sweater. You're so cute. Shame you're a beach. Those shoes though. As a guy that lifts weights and has brought some of his other male and 2 female friends into the fold, you never, ever, slander another person's weight on any lift. If your friend is 250 pounds and only benches 135, but is trying very hard, then you never make a sound other than howling intense encouragement at them. The rule in my basement is, everything is heavy to somebody. As long as you're giving it your full grass, then the number is irrelevant. Exactly. Brought a few friends into the gym to show them the ropes and they always, regardless of gender, mention being nervous, weak, but it's the journey. Like I didn't start lifting the weight I did now, and I'm proud and supportive of anybody trying to make progress in any pursuit, but especially ones that I'm also into. In his home, you always call another man's dog a good boy. You always call a dog a good boy. Fix that for you. Silence at the urinal: man. I will not speak to you unless I require immediate medical attention and you appear to be a doctor. If possible, I will take a urinal at least 1 urinal away from anyone else, and select spacing to maximize the number of potential peers who needn't stand shoulder to shoulder. Only speak to someone in a stall to warn them of an active shooter situation. Even then you can't directly address stall guy, you have to speak in generalities like, it is unfortunate that someone is on a rampage through the office. If anyone is in here, they may want to lift their feet. I regret to inform any parties that may be within hearing distance, purely incidental to my location in the restroom, and in no way directly related to it, that Todd from accounting has just Second Amendmented the first floor and police have not yet arrived. Talking at a urinal is only acceptable when you are both wasted. In fairness, the wasted rules of etiquette are almost completely different from the sober ones. Guy code: if your drunk bro is about to cheat on his girlfriend, you must follow through with one intervention. If he says he doesn't care, you did your part and are free from any responsibility. One time my friend tried to stop me from cheating on my girlfriend, with my girlfriend. A bunch of us were at a social gathering. I asked my girlfriend if she wanted to grab dinner afterwards, and my friend pulled me aside and reminded me that I have a girlfriend, and I told him, yeah, dude. This is her. He had met her before, and none of us were drinking or otherwise impaired, so I'm not sure why he was confused. Edit. So far, this is my most upvoted comment. I'll have to let my friend know how much he entertained y'all. Still, it's better to have a friend that looks out for you when you don't need it than one who doesn't when you do. He was building trust with your girlfriend. She now approves of anything you do with that friend. Solid move on his part. She will always trust him. Lightly picking on each other is a sign of endearment, but you should always be trying to build each other up. Don't put someone else down just to make yourself feel better. Everyone wants to feel important and the center of attention sometimes. Don't bang someone that your friends are deeply invested in, even if it's not going to go anywhere. I wish I had friends who followed any of these. See something, compliment something. If you're a stranger, particularly if you're a guy, only compliment the things you wouldn't get slapped for touching. Hair, clothing, great. Facial feature, tattoo, maybe. Ass, boobs, shut the frack up. Edit. I do not condone or encourage touching strangers, especially their eyeballs. My friend got a new bra and it was a lot more supportive. I'm pretty sure every guy noticed but didn't say a word until our friend, who is gay, came along and just said, "Everyone's been thinking it, your boobs look amazing, what happened?" She was happy to talk about it though. Perks of being gay. As a lady with autism, this has to be one of the most useful threads I have ever read. All these unwritten rules about how to treat others socially don't naturally occur to me. I feel like I have gained new powers. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Edit. All you guys made me cry a little happy crying face. Thank you so much for all your kind interactions. I promise to use my new powers for good winking face. Bro code. If a girl passes out at a party, you're not allowed to touch her. Make sure one of her lady friends knows ASAP, preferable a relatively sober one. Quick question. Does this rule apply in general, or only with girls you don't know? Because I've often helped girlfriends of mine either home or in any way I could have helped regardless of whether there was a lady friend of hers or not. And no one seemed to mind. I get that it looks super weird, creepy if you do that with some you don't know. Hierarchy of friends. If she's a friend, you figure that out with whoever else is in your group, assuming there's more than the two of you. If she's a stranger and she was with other people, find them and let them know. If you've got a friend, split up so one person can stay with the passed out girl. If you're a guy and a girl stays outside of the most ridiculous circumstances. If she's a stranger and she was alone, grab the staff, venue, or host house party, let them know. Per above, split up if you can. Sauce. Male staff member at a nightclub. Not every girl follows this code but should. When you see a woman in need of help because somebody won't leave her alone, you either tell someone or step in as her best friend and persuade the person to go. Women also just know to go to the bathroom together. For opinions on appearance, to gossip briefly, or just for safety reasons. Edit. The safety reasons for going to the bathroom with another person aren't because of danger in the bathroom but the walk to it can be. In a crowded place like a club there could be predators anywhere looking for a girl on their own. Especially if the girl has been drinking. A pair of girls are less likely to be assaulted than a girl alone. I had this experience once while walking home from work at 2 a.m. I lived in a university town and had to walk straight past a very popular bar. I hated that stretch of my walk but there wasn't really a better way to go. While I was walking by, this girl ran up to me, hooked her arm on mine and walked with me. She needed help standing as she had obviously been drinking. She said pretty loudly, "Wow, what are the chances of running into you here? Let's go." I didn't think twice and just kept walking. Once we were a bit away I asked her if she needed help getting home. She asked if I could call her a cab because her phone was dead. We waited for it together and then off she went. I have no idea who that girl is but I hope she's doing well. Seriously, good karma, amiga. For sure. I was playing darts at a bar with my boyfriend when another couple on a date asked to play with us. I knew immediately that the girl was not into the guy but there was something more. I asked her to go with me to the bar and she told me that he had been harassing her to go on a date and she kept saying no but she finally gave in and went. The guy was extremely possessive and something was just off with him. We went back and forth to the bar a few times and planned her escape. Finally I put her in a cab and told the guy that she had an emergency and needed to leave alone. He was upset and tried calling her but she had already blocked his number. He left soon after, having already been flirting with another girl. I hope he forgot about her after that. Don't hold grudges against your bros. Just tell him to frack himself for doing thing X and move on. On the other hand, if you did something to your bro, say sorry and buy him beers, first part optional, and don't do that again. Edit. Just because I've been responding to this a whole lot. The part about apologizing being optional was a joke. Always apologize. I will wingman any man. I don't even have to know you. Heck, I'll wingman any woman too. If you are trying to make an impression on someone you think you'll hit it off with, call me. I love love and am always willing to help make it happen. Terry loves love. People who end a sentence with man, dude, or my personal favorite, brother are immediately trusted. It's like a secret handshake that says, at the very least, we are not enemies. I sometimes get weird vibes with brother, but this is substantially true. It's a recognition of our common humanity. Sir, or cuz, on the other hand, hackles go up. Bro, also does not qualify, not sure why. This is going to sound weird as a guy code thing as it's actually a bro thing to do for women. If I happen to be walking somewhere at night, think grocery store parking lot, and I'm behind a woman, I always scuff my feet or something so that she doesn't get freaked out by a man popping out of nowhere. As a fast walker, I will usually also slow my pace so she doesn't think I'm trying to gain on her or anything. Women's lives are filled with these safety-related mini panic attacks, and as a guy, I try to do my best to not cause them. I heard this dilemma discussed in an Oni Plays video recently, and I'm more of the sentiment that if it's a long path, i.e. just walking down a road at night with a girl ahead of you, you should walk straight past her, around. Rather quickly, because those couple seconds of unease and slight panic are better than whole minutes of discomfort and paranoia. That's a point I hadn't considered. Thanks for the input. Your girlfriend, wife's friends know about the length, girth and average time to completion. Lol, guess that's why they always say bless your heart when they see me. Coldest insult in the South. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment and subscribe.